Well, you know what that means? It means the ice cream man comes around. It's a guy in a truck. But where did he get the truck? See, that's what I want to know. Is it a company that just has the trucks and you rent them? Maybe you drive them around? Is it for money? Is it in your free time? Right, and they got the ice cream and the kids run out there. I guess what I'm asking is, we need more information, right? If you just look at it at face value, looks shady. Is it always ice cream? Steve Weiner at GetRubix.com, and today we're going to go back to looking at Autopilot V2 or Autopilot Device Preparation because Microsoft has brought back the ability to upload the corporate device identifiers. And this is a big deal. It puts us a step closer to putting this into production in some cases. Again, if you like V1, keep using V1, but we're going to talk about it today. Well, why does it always have to be ice cream? Maybe it's something else in a truck, like some kind of sporting equipment or like a fresh fish.
Get Rubix, solving for the modern workplace.
Okay, so we're back in Intune, and one of the things we had to do in order to make device prep work, see device preparation policies, this is the new Autopilot, is we had to go to platform restrictions, and in order to make it work, we had to allow personally owned Windows devices, right? And this is obviously a sticking point. Typically, we don't want to do this, so if you were doing it to test the new Autopilot, chances are you wouldn't allow this in production. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and block that, because today we have the corporate identifiers back. So I am once again blocking personal device enrollment. Well, what does that mean? So if I go back to devices enrollment, I have an area where I can upload corporate device identifiers. And yes, we've always had this, but I showed this in one of my tenants when it first came out and it was pulled. But if I go to upload CSV file, you can see one of my options is manufacturer, model, and serial number. Windows only. So this is what will allow me to upload the corporate identifier of the device. This is not so streamlined because a few things you have to take into account. One is that you're going to assume it's a brand new out-of-the-box device and it's Windows Pro. Okay, and if it's Pro, we're going to get all the screens we don't necessarily want during the out-of-box experience. So it would be better if this were on Enterprise. And then two is, how are we going to pull this information from every device, right? Serial number, you got to assume if you had some inventory, you can pull devices like this for. But if you're brand new, if the device is brand new and you want to pull the manufacturer, model, and serial number, right, could be a little bit of a task. So I'm thinking if we want to accomplish these two things, we want to prep the device somehow, right? Because this is not as hands-off dropship as Autopilot V1. This has very specific circumstances. Probably the most popular is going to be those customers who are in the GCC high or government cloud tenant, where this is their only Autopilot option. So I'm thinking if we had a very automated way to take a device and prep it by switching it to Windows 11 Enterprise and harvesting the corporate identifier and uploading it automatically, well, now we really have something. And I know I showed some of this automation back when it first came out, but everything was new. There was a lot of coverage. And, I figured it's time to take a second look. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a provisioning package. And that provisioning package is going to upgrade the device to Windows 11, take the corporate identifier information, and post that through the graph to Intune for us so that the device is completely ready to go. And I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so in order to get the Windows 11 device here, what do we have to do? All right. Okay, step one is flip to Enterprise. We're going to do that with an MAK that we inject into the package to flip the device to Enterprise. Okay, the second thing we have to do is get the corporate identifier. That's the manufacturer, the model, and the serial number. Okay, and the last step we have to do is upload that corporate identifier to Intune and shut down the device. Okay, so when we do upload the information, it's being uploaded to an Azure Automation account that's going to run a PowerShell script as a runbook to post that corporate ID into Intune. So let's take a look at the whole process. Step one is we have to make the provisioning package. I'm going to open up the Windows Configuration Designer, which is how we make a package. and we're going to click on advanced provisioning. So this is not going to be, we're going to call this AP-V2 for Autopilot V2, because this is not all Windows desktop editions. This is not like the previous one we used for migration. Okay, so there's a lot of settings here we can do in the provisioning package. We're looking for two very specific items. The first one is edition upgrade. We're going to click change product key. All right, so you'd want to paste in a Windows 11 MAK for Windows 11 Enterprise. I'm going to paste mine in. Okay, so I have my key. That's there. It's not an actual key. It's wrong. I'm doing that so no one can take it. And all you have to do is paste it there. You don't have to save it. Then we're going to go down to provisioning commands, and we're going to click on device context. So under device context, you're going to see command files and command line. So we can actually upload a file that we want this to execute, and the command line to execute it. It's like an Intune Win file. So we're gonna make a PowerShell script, and I'm gonna make a folder called AP-V2 for Autopilot V2, and we're gonna create a collect.ps1 script, and this is how we're gonna collect the corporate identifier and send it to the webhook. So we'll need a few things. We'll need the webhook URL, which we're going to make in a second. We don't need that. Okay. Then we're going to need the computer info. Then we're going to have to create a JSON payload. And finally, upload JSON to webhook. So our webhook URL we're gonna get later. We gotta actually come back for that. Getting the computer info. So computer system is get WMI object class Win32 computer system, and we also need the BIOS. So we need the get WMI object class Win32 BIOS. All right, now that we have those things, remember we need manufacturer, model, and serial number. We can get that between those two variables. So our webhook data that's going to be sent up there is going to be, we're going to do a code block and then convert it to JSON. So we're going to say manufacturer is equal to computer system manufacturer. It's a capital M. I don't think it matters, but whatever. Our model is going to be equal to computer system model. And the serial number is equal to BIOS serial number. And then all we have to do at that point is say convert to JSON. Now we invoke a web request. The method is post because we're posting something. The URI is the webhook. The body is the webhook data. And we'll throw a use basic parsing on there. All right, so that's going to collect our computer information, post it to that webhook, and the webhook will run the script. So to get that, we're going to open up a new tab. We're going to go to portal.azure.com. And you need an automation account. Now, I went over how to make this in a previous video. I'll put the link below on how to make the automation account. Basically, it's an account that has an identity which has privileges to run the scripts for you. So that's the account we're going to use. And our runbooks are the different scripts it will run. So we're going to create a new runbook. And we're going to call it, just for you guys, YouTube AP-V2. And the runbook will be PowerShell, and we're going to use the recommended version. Okay, so we're going to hit next. We don't need tags, and we're going to hit create. So this is our runbook, And what we can do is add to canvas. So this is actually it right here. But we're going to we're going to copy the script in. We don't have to edit it up here. I'm going to make a new file called runbook.ps1. And this will be the code that takes the data, we send it to the webhook, and runs it here online, right, for us. So this will ultimately post it in our corporate device identifiers. So we're going to start by doing a commandlet binding. Commandlet binding param. Okay, and the object we're going to take in is going to be our webhook data. So we're basically taking the output from this and sending it here. So this script will be expecting that data. And then we'll say, if it's there, which it will be, we got to do some things. So we have to basically, so hold on. So we have to, we'll put a comment, parse webhook data out to string, because it has to be a string. It has to be a CSV really to be uploaded, or that kind of file. So we're going to say the body data, we're going to now convert it from JSON, and the object will be the webhook data. Oh, that's not what I want. Dot request body. So it'll be the actual body contents. So our serial number, now we're going to use this method, we're going to kind of trim through everything. So it's got to be triple parentheses, body data, serial number. We're going to out that to a string, and we're going to trim. So that'll basically give it to us in a string and get rid of any other space that's around it, right? And we're going to repeat that for the manufacturer and the model number. Sure. Body data, manufacturer, out string, trim, and the model. Body data, model, out string, trim. Okay. Now we have to connect to the graph. We're going to use the identity switch, so it uses this managed identity. And again, you're going to permission this identity. That's all in the previous video below. Parameters are going to be overwrite imported device identities equals false. So we're not going to overwrite something that's already there. And then we're going to say imported device identities equals okay, so now we're just gonna fill that in. So the imported device identities, device identity type, imported device identity type equals manufacturer model serial. Manufacturer model serial. So this is basically now the equivalent of us picking this. When we check here, we want that. And then the payload will be the body below it. So that's what this is. We're just creating this in the graph. And then the imported device identifier is going to be equal to, in one string, we're going to say manufacturer, comma, model, comma, serial number. And that's our one-line string, same as a CSV. Okay? And we are going to convert that back to JSON. Now all we have to do is call it. So we're going to invoke the mg graph request. The method again will be post. The URI will be https://graph.microsoft.com/beta/device management/imported device identities /import device identity list. That's a long URL, and that's where we attach the body. The body is the params. The content type is application JSON. So we're going to save that. We're actually going to take that, copy it up to our webhook. Okay, so that's it right there. We're going to save that. We're going to publish that so it's up there, and then we call it by making a webhook. So I'm going to go to webhooks. I'm going to add one. I'm going to call it YouTube APv2. And this is kind of like a client secret. This is the only time you can grab it. So I went ahead and did that. I don't have any run settings, so I'm just going to hit OK and create. And now it's live. So I'm going to go back to my collect script and put the webhook in there. And there's my webhook, so I could save this. All right, so now we're going to go back to that provisioning package because remember, we're looking at provisioning commands. We're going to go to command files, and we're going to upload our collect one that we just made. So I'm going to go to APv2 collect because that's what I want to run on the device. Okay, and to run it, we're going to run it the same way as if we were in Intune with it. So I'm going to say PowerShell exe execution policy bypass collect.ps1. And if you look on the right here on the runtime settings, you can see we added a product key for enterprise, and our provisioning commands, we added a file called collect.ps1, and we're running that command line. So this is everything we're running on the device. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to export the provisioning package. Okay, I'm going to go to where it was exported from. There it is, apv2.ppkg. All right, I'm going to store that on a file share, and then we're going to look at a new PC. Okay, so this is our test PC. I want to show you a few things. It's Windows 11, but it is Pro, Windows 11 Pro. Let's take a look at the serial. Starts with 9391. So this is not, I mean, I don't have any corporate devices up here, but let's go back here. It's not here in corporate device identifiers, and it shouldn't be part of any other autopilot. Let's go take a look. 9391. Yep, nothing here. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, so typically what you do with a provisioning package is you put it on a USB stick and you can just insert it into the PC and this will get going. You could also do what I'm doing is I'm put it on a file share and I just brought it over to the device from there. Okay, so there's my package. It's in a local folder now. I copied it over from a file share, C resources, and it's good to run. So I can just go to PowerShell here. Actually, yeah, PowerShell. And all I would have to do is say install provisioning package path, and we'll point to it, C resources, and it's called apv2.ppkg, and I'm just gonna put a force on that. And I should see it pop up. If I wanted to, you can add a quiet install. It's telling you what it's doing, but I'm going to add it. And we'll give it a second. It should flip the device to enterprise, and it should also register it as a corporate device format. Okay, everything looks like it succeeded, so I'm going to shut down. You could also build the shutdown into your, you could build the shutdown into the script if you want to. Okay, so the device is booted up. And if I go to WinVer Okay, it's now enterprise. That's great. And it's corporate device. Okay, so if we head back to the Azure portal for our runbook, we can see the completed job. No errors, that's good. So our input, you can see the request body, it got the serial, the manufacturer, the model, and the output was a successful return on the graph call. If we go back to Intune and refresh the corporate devices, hey, look at that. It's sitting there now, all ready to go. Let's boot that device and take a look at it. All right, so it's there. It's uploaded as a corporate device, so it's not going to have a problem with my personal enrollment being blocked. And it already flipped to enterprise, so we're good to go here. Obviously, there's a touch point here. You either have to take a USB drive to get the provisioning package on, or you do this like I did through a shared drive. But I think in the terms of where the Autopilot V2 is at, and how we don't need the hardware hash, and it is going to be convenient for more folks. Now we have one package to kind of take care of that identifier capture and flip it to enterprise. So, does this help the masses at scale? No. But for those who want to take advantage of V2, now you have kind of a streamlined way to do it. So I hope that helped. We're going to keep checking on this solution as it evolves. I'm sure there's more good stuff coming, and we'll be seeing you.